learn about them and to learn about culture.
Стараются преодолеть
They
эти трудности.
try to overcome these difficulties and they try to do their best.
Это видно о том, как несется вахты, как они еле выползают на эти вахты, но все-таки они несут.
Yeah, you can see how the Russians are showing up on the watches. It's really hard for them, but
Заставляется быть на семинарах не потому, что им
they,
интересно.
and they make themselves to be on the seminars. It's not because it's not interesting for them,
А то, что они просто плохо себя
but
чувствуют.
because they don't feel well.
Ну, а в общем, я, например, я получил очень много в первой половине путешествия.
But I personally, I've learned a lot during the first part of the trip.
И всегда, когда я вижу наших американских друзей, у меня всегда повышается настроение.
And when I see our American friends, I'm always in a good mood.
Я хочу сказать, что сложные экстремальные условия, многое преодолеть.
Putting ourselves in so difficult and extreme situations, overcome a lot of problems.
И найти общий язык и полюбить друг друга.
And we'll be able to find the common language and to fall in love with each other.
Но для меня неожиданным
But for
оказалось,
me it was very unexpected
что на этом пути мы совершили очень крупную ошибку.
that during this trip we made a very big mistake.
И ошибка, которую
I'm sorry, I don't think it's на пути
в
мысли
реализации этого проекта.
реализации.
Да.
But I think that during the realization of this project, the подготовки, да? During the preparation of the project, we
Проведение его, конечно. Именно в
we
проведении этого
made a
скрылось.
big mistake.
О которой мы могли бы подозревать и догадываться.
And we could suspect what kind of mistake we are doing, and we probably knew.
Что реально мы сделали? Мы народную дипломатию поместили в условия монархии.
What really we've done? We put the citizen diplomacy in the circumstances of monarchy.
Которая неизбежна в море и на корабле.
Which is inevitable in the sea and on the board of the vessel.
И поэтому она молчит здесь, народная дипломатия.
And that's why the citizen diplomacy is keeping silence here.
И мы должны здесь, в нашей второй части, что-то изменить.
And during our second part of the trip, we should change something.
Мне приятно, что об этом говорили и Грег, и Джош.
It's very pleasant for me that Josh and Greg talked about that.
Что вот именно такая неудовлетворенность есть не только
kind of
у меня, но и другие люди тоже это понимают.
Not only I have, but other people also have.
Но здесь нам очень важен разумный компромисс.
But here for us it's very important to come to a reasonable compromise.
Я не верю, что мы здесь сможем развить полную демократию.
Well, I don't believe that we can develop here the total democracy.
Ну, что-то типа ограниченной монархии.
But maybe we can do something like limited monarchy.
Поэтому я предлагаю приступить к формированию истинно демократических органов, чтобы...
So then I suggest to start to form the really democratic organs.
Надо подумать, какими они будут.
Let's think what kind of organs we can form or we can create.
Вряд ли мы готовы еще к такому уровню дипломатии, когда общее собрание будет самым демократическим органом и принимать решения.
Don't think that we are quite ready for such kind of the meetings or when we come to consensus, when we will be able to come to consensus. So what kind of decisions you are discussing? About our life, about
не касающихся судовождения.
Not concerning the leading the vessel. With some kind of exceptions.
У меня предложение, поэтому сделать что-то типа парламента и открыть избирательную кампанию.
Such kind of a parliament, and let's start the elections campaign.
Кандидаты формировали свою программу и выступали перед
For
общественностью.
the candidates to prepare their programs and to have the public speeches.
Free chocolate for everybody who votes for me.
Я, говорит, гарантирую шоколадку, кто за меня будет голосовать.
I'll vote for you then.
Шоколадка у меня.
Не, но тем не менее, я говорил об этом серьезно.
Anyway, I talked about this seriously.
И мы должны действительно вернуть этот дух народной дипломатии и дать ей слово.
We should come back to the spirit of citizen diplomacy and we should work in this kind of atmosphere of citizen diplomacy.
Потому что действительно здесь очень многие вопросы решают просто отдельные люди.
Yeah, because a lot of questions or a lot of problems are solved here by separate people.
И надо отдать должное вот участникам нашего плавания с обоих сторон, что они проявляют вообще море такта и терпимости.
And I can say that a lot of members of our crew are very patient and very tolerant.
И то, что у нас нет до сих пор каких-то конфликтов, это, конечно, заслуга каждого.
And the fact that we still don't have any conflicts, I think it's thanks to everybody on this board.
И я согласен, что это не лучший способ, вот, о чем говорил Джош, что надо не решать конфликты, лучше их решать. Но для того, чтобы решать, должен быть какой-то у нас именно демократический механизм их решения.
Agree with George that we don't have the right to increase the conflicts. We should solve them before they start.
Я не очень долго говорю.
Am I talking for a long time? I'm tired from my speech.
Нет.
The doctor said we need money. Как платить?
Парламент.
Нет, ну я по реке. Все так разбились вокруг руководителя, где ходили куда надо, у кого нет, ходили.
He said, judging by Reykjavik, that the people divide into groups. The groups of the people who have money and the groups of the people who don't have the money. Yeah, he felt depressed not having the money in Iceland, but he was kidding. Yeah, it's the last remark. The last remark.
Even the people who had money did not do well in Iceland.
Даже те люди, у которых есть деньги, им совсем не было хорошо в Исландии.
А судью нужно.
Для меня лично это первый шаг вот в этом направлении.
Is to be able to demonstrate to everybody
Это иметь возможность продемонстрировать каждому,
that it's important that we do so.
что это важно, то, что мы пытались это сделать.
Because, as
Потому
Tom
что,
once said
как
to me,
Том сказал мне,
you can't hold people back.
ты не можешь заставить людей повернуться обратно.
And I feel that if we have hope for the
Или
future,
держать людей. И я надеюсь, что мы можем в будущем мы можем надеяться.
you won't need to hold people back. It will be the people living for themselves that will create a situation.
Совсем не надо будет людей тащить обратно, а люди будут жить ради себя, во имя себя, они будут создавать эти возможности.
That don't require them being held back. You know what I mean? It's
That
like
don't require.
instead of having a situation where you have to hold people back, I would like to see people learn to develop a system within themselves, so that's not an issue. It's not a question.
Но вместо того, чтобы мы как-то сдерживать людей, я бы хотела, чтобы люди смогли создать внутри себя вот эту вот систему, которая вот работала бы на них, на благо человечества.
And to me, that's what encompasses living peacefully. That's what it means to me, living peacefully.
Вот для меня вот это вот значит, такое мирно жить, мирно существовать.
Мир должен начинаться с себя, прежде всего.
So the peace begins from inner self.
Exactly.
I need to start dinner, but so I would like to say a few
Мне
words.
нужно начинать готовить ужин, я бы хотела сказать несколько слов.
And I'd like to preface this whole discussion by saying it would have been nice to go through some appreciations before maybe going through some of the problems to solve, because many times we do overlook the people and the situations that have really made the difference. There's so many individuals who I have interacted with and worked with in the last 3 weeks that have really warmed my heart and made it possible to survive some of the agonizing moments.
Но я бы, конечно, хотела пройти через это обсуждение, через эту дискуссию, прежде чем мы перейдем к разрешению каких-то конкретных проблем.
I tend to be somebody who is extremely analytical, and I have made a long list of things that bother me, which I won't share with you. And that's part of who I am. Another part of who I am is somebody who's trained to bring a piece of music off the page to as perfect a piece of work as possible through rehearsals and interaction with people, through a sense of craftsmanship and perfection and organization. And that's the way I like to run my life sometimes, not always.
Мне также нравится, вот, что касается музыки, каких-то репетиций, если кто-то принесет какие-то ноты, какие-то песни или какое-то творчество, ремесленничество, и вот этим бы я хотела заняться в последующем своей жизни.
So I guess I approach my job as cook, as sailor, as whatever I do with that same understanding of an ideal and having a sense of how things are connected.
Работе моряка с одним и тем же, так сказать, у меня один и тот же подход, как все вещи, отдельные вещи увязываются и взаимодействуют в целом.
I was just reading my reasons for coming. And besides sailing across the Atlantic, none of what I wrote said that I wanted to be a cook here. That just happens to be what I was chosen to do. But what was more important was being part of what I saw as a visionary community, a chance to do something unique in terms of peacemaking. In a setting that stressed the ideas of sharing, of cooperation, of respect, so that we all safely make this journey. And I guess that I'm very disillusioned about some parts of what is not happening. I'm disillusioned. But I'm not hopeless. I have faith that if we decide, we can do whatever we want to do. So I would like to take a poll. How many of you are Russians? Raise your hand. Or how many of you? Raise your hand. Or Soviet citizens. Okay, Soviet. Russian Soviet.
How many?
How many identify that way? How many of you identify as Americans or Westerners? Raise your hand.
Are those the only choices?
Well, don't jump the gun.
Well, you got to tell us that before you ask us.
Okay, how many of you would say that we are a unique community of individuals who happen to be working together to find out what it takes to get along in this situation? You can raise your hand on that. Okay, if this is truly how we feel, then I suggest in the last 3 weeks we have together that we have an intentional way of growing into a new community. And I guess I'm going to have to be vague because this is a process that all of us must be involved with. In the last 2.5, since we left Leningrad, we've never met as a community to discuss why we're here. I personally feel alienated from a sense of common purpose here. I sense hidden agendas. I sense people not really respecting others in many ways. My own problems dealing with issues. And I think nothing will happen until we decide that this is going to happen. Environmental pollution, women's role in society, sexism, racism, poverty, hunger are not important issues to this group. I think the only and most valuable thing that this group can do is come to an understanding of what this community is about, to establish some rituals which are unique to this community, like Emma said, to hold hands, to find ways of showing respect and care, being sensitive, and seeing each other as individuals on the same path. And I think when we can figure out how to do all these things on this boat, we would have solved the other issues. If we can't get along on this boat, if we can't show care to each other, if we don't understand the consequences of everything we do in the context of safety, of our journey, then there's no way for us to deal with the larger issues. And for me, the most important thing that I've done is go to the first meeting we had when we shared our lives, we drew the pictures, and finally people who were just names began to become individuals. And that has really been the only meeting that I felt that I've gotten anything out of. And I would encourage us to grow from the point of view of sharing who we are, not what we think, what our dogma is, how we define ourselves with slogans or labels. That we grow that way together. And I believe this community will grow. I believe we will address the larger issues, and I think it would be a wonderful way to continue this. And I think we have to work this out as a community. That's what I have to say. I've got specifics, but I think it's not appropriate.
процессе, так сказать, путешествия я, в принципе, понял, что...
But in the process of the trip, I realized...
Да, что, в принципе, здесь все должны быть равны, и, в принципе, здесь...
All the people here should be equal.
Да, общее дело.
That we are doing the common project.
И в этом, то есть сказать, путешествии вначале надо критически подойти к себе. То есть полностью перестроиться, полностью стать обыкновенным.
So the main thing here, you should criticize yourself and you should restructure yourself.
Обыкновенным рядовым членом команды и
to be just a member of the crew, of the team.
И также
not
индивидуально
to perceive yourself as the leader.
И также индивидуально подойти к соответствующему товарищу, который является полноправным членом.
And to approach individually each member of the crew.
Поэтому я хочу вот следующее сказать. Все-таки мне на сегодняшний день несколько не удовлетворяет информированность нашего путешествия и решение отдельных вопросов.
Right now, for meantime, I feel a little bit unsatisfied concerning the information on the board of the trip and how some of the questions are decided.
Да, просто бывает решаются отдельные вопросы и, в принципе, не спрашивая ни твоего мнения, ни как ты смотришь на этот вопрос, просто констатируешь.
Sometimes the decisions are made and nobody asks our opinion and our attitude.
Вот. Поэтому, когда у нас вопросы возникли по поводу парламента, вот, что Слава поднимала.
That's why when Slava raised the issue about creating the parliament,
Мне хотелось бы на будущее, чтобы любые решения, которые принимаются, как-то они стали достоянием и обсуждением всей команды.
I would like to see before any decision is made on the board to be informed.
Можно сказать примерно, какие
Хорошо. Так, товарищ не может работать, допустим, без Б. Все.
So we were nine. We are nine in the watch, and we were just informed that Mary is leaving the watch.
Остальные 9 тоже не могут работать без Мэри.
That one person couldn't work without Mary, but
В принципе, работа отсутствующего товарища делится дальше на 9. Наверное, так.
So now, when our watch missing is one person, then we divide his job for 9 person who is left.
Но другие
Different than helm person, no different than lookout. Each
Тех, кто
job
стоит
has
на
a
руле
specific
или является смотрящим, она просто вот такая же работа, как каждого остального.
I'm a member of this group of people in all the same ways that everyone else is.
И в том же самом виде, как и все.
I think in terms of the specific item you mentioned, where we had to make a watch change, I just have to say that it was not an easy decision to make, and that I did not make it based only on my own information, but I talked to some people about it before I decided. Since it had to do with the watches and how they were set up, I needed to make that decision. And it was my responsibility to make that decision. If the situation arises in the future where someone has a question about a decision I make, I am perfectly willing to explain to them exactly why I made the decision. And I hope that in each case I have a rational set of I have some specific reasons that I made that particular decision that I can explain. Sometimes maybe I won't. I'll try to be as open about it as I can. That there will be never anything hidden. So, and beyond that, I am just another member of the group. If there is a hardship on a watch, such as the one that Valerie described, if that presents a hardship, maybe there's a way that can be worked out. Maybe a way that involves me, or maybe there's a way to work it out that doesn't involve me, that just involves him working with the rest of the people on his watch to form some solution, or him working with everyone on the ship to form some solution. And maybe I would be just another member of the people on the ship to help create a solution. There are many decisions that if I'm asked, I really don't like deciding about. I would never like to decide what we should have for dinner. I don't want to decide what might be played on the video machine. As a captain, I hate these kinds of things. As a crew member, I'll take part in the decision-making process to the fullest to help with the decision. And that might mean that I say nothing. And it might mean that I have something appropriate to say, and then I would say something. But that's, I hope that maybe makes it a little clearer how I perceive myself, and I hope that we all as a group take on the responsibility that we must take on to work as a group. A lot. I've seen a lot of really creative things happen. Not only as far as just operating the boat coach, but in terms of the artistic things. I thought it was some of the things I heard about that were done to Al last night were pretty ingenious. And I think there's been lots of Soviet and American collaboration on these kinds of things. I think it's been a really good first part of the trip, but I also think that there is a lot these people have been saying that we need to do for the rest of the trip. And I think a lot of that involves everyone taking a more active role in what's happening on the ship. I think this is just, it is a very typical voyage in many ways because of this. Often it takes a certain amount of time for people to get used to their environment. I think people are used to the ship now, and they're used to how the ship operates. So let's refine, let's do a better job all the time of operating the ship. But now we can really move on to other issues that are a lot more important. Important beyond, since our basic needs are met on the ship.
Они важны, имеют непосредственное отношение к каким-то моментам, частным моментам нашего взаимодействия и общения.
And how people feel about different specific interactions.
И что люди чувствуют и думают по этим каким-то особым моментам взаимодействия.
It also is pretty clear that it's
Также
difficult
довольно очевидно, что трудно
to meet as a community to air these kinds of concerns because we are on 4 different schedules.
Да, и также очень трудно формировать какую-то
structure for airing concerns and making decisions.
Того, чтобы разрешить вот какие-то наши проблемы и принимать какие-либо решения.
That we need to make a commitment to doing that within watch format. If we really want everyone to be involved and informed. I mean, as a possible way of structuring, you know, one of many possible ways of structuring.
I love it.
To have some kind of regular meeting of the watches.
Для того, чтобы у нас были какие-нибудь такие регулярные митинги
outside of watch time.
За пределами какого-то вахтенного времени. How is it possible?
How is that possible? I mean, it is possible to, at the end of 1 o'clock watch or 7 o'clock watch, to get together and talk about things.
Но просто, значит, собраться, как this sickness, the main reason I suggest to meet more often. Развернем, говорит, лодкой пойдем.
Go backwards every other day.
That's not your decision to make.
Well, that's how I can help me.
Ты говоришь, не можешь принимать решение. Да, ну, я могу как сам.
А вот зайдем сюда.
Doctor said when we come to New Zealand, then the weather will be nice and we'll seminars and games.
Sure.
Мечтай, мечтай. Он говорит, каждый день говорит это, говорит, завтра.
Что, закончили? Еще говорю,
So in regards to the impressions of the first part of
самое
the
яркое
trip,
впечатление
the
следующее.
most
Мы все с
colorful
вами поразительные,
impression that we are
удачливые люди.
very lucky people.
Нам повезло вытащить такой счастливый билет, что из 40 с лишним человек у нас на борту.
Got a lucky ticket that from 40 people on our board.
Нет ни одного, кто, по-русски говоря, испортил нам обед.
There is nobody who can spoil our dinner or our lunch. There is a Russian saying to spoil the dinner, is to be a really bad person.
Я очень много лет плаваю на яхтах, и вот,
I
знаете,
have been sailing for a long
в маленьких
time,
судах, где
many years, and at such small boats,
команда составляет 5 там, или 7 человек,
where the team is 5 or 7 people,
очень редко складывается такая
very
дружелюбная
seldom you
атмосфера,
have so friendly atmosphere.
какая... Какая у нас на сегодняшний день
As we
существует.
have here on the boat.
Вот, но Слава у нас суеверный, он предлагает плевать через плечо, чтобы не испортить дело. Но я думаю, что...
Дело.
всё
Я
у нас-
предлагаю,
Ну хорошо. Чуть справа, чуть слева.
To knock the wood or through the shoulder.
Через левое, да? Фу-фу-фу.
Постучи по дереву.
Just no, to be right.
Теперь, значит, относительно, может быть, вклада, что ли, каждого участника.
Or concerning our personal
И в создание
investment
этой
in
атмосферы,
creating of this
и
atmosphere
те работы по судну и какие-то общественные,
and
которые нам
in
приходится
those
выполнять.
works we are doing here on the vessel.
У меня давно сложилось такое убеждение, что люди, конечно, имеют какой-то разный уровень и физических сил, и
Well, I've got the
интеллектуальных,
impression
творческих.
that all the individuals are different. They are all on different levels from professional point of view and from creative
Поэтому
point
очень
of
трудно,
view.
может быть, невозможно
Physical
сравнивать
abilities, and
вклад
probably
каждого.
it's very difficult to compare the investment of each person, everybody.
Но у меня такое впечатление, может быть, со мной не все согласятся,
But
что
I have the impression, maybe not everybody will be agree with me,
в нашей команде все живут на пределе своих возможностей.
that in our team, in our crew, everybody lives on the edge of their abilities.
То есть каждый, кто что может, тот, кто, безусловно, поможет.
Everybody does what
И если кому-то удается не слишком много, это означает, что просто у него нет больше сил.
And if somebody doesn't achieve a lot, it means that he doesn't have the most strength.
Ну, может быть, опыт этого плавания заставит нас как-то иначе подойти к формированию экипажа в будущем.
Well,
если
maybe the
такие плавания
experience of this trip will change our attitude, how to choose the people for such trips.
Оказалось, я сейчас говорю о советской части экипажа, что не все достаточно пригодны, что ли, для морского путешествия.
Well, it turned out, now I'm speaking about the Soviet members of the crew, that not all the people are ready for such trip.
Наверное, надо в будущем отдавать предпочтение тем, кто лучше владеет языком.
Maybe in
Это все-таки
future
мешает нашей работе.
we should choose the people who know the language. I think
Ты об американцах говорил?
it will help us
Нет,
in
я
our
же сказал.
job.
Это вопросы будущего, мы к ним когда-нибудь придем. Я говорю, что это вопросы будущего, мы к ним придем тогда, когда будем готовить следующие.
But this is the issues of future. I think we'll come to this point later.
Вот. Теперь, значит, относительно того, как мы должны провести следующую оставшаяся часть нашего плана.
As for the second part of our trip,
Во-первых, мне непонятно, даже как-то забавляет такой призыв «давайте стараться сильнее».
first I don't understand and how we can try to do more or better.
Ну, я, собственно, только что
How we
сказал
can
уже,
strengthen
что,
our efforts.
на мой взгляд, все
How we
стараются так, как
how we
могут,
can do
так,
more
как
than we
представляют
can.
себе свое. Я только что сказал о том, что и так у нас все стараются, как только могут.
Recently I just said that everybody tries or does or lives on the edge.
По крайней мере, реализует свои представления о том, как нужно себя вести на службе.
At least everybody realizes his presentation, how he should behave himself on the board of the ship.
Поэтому, если мы хотим получить какой-то больший эффект,
So if we want to make it more effective
в дальнейшем, то тут нужны совершенно конкретные предложения. Вот вроде того, которое высказал Грег.
we should make some concrete proposals like
Готов
Greg
немедленно подготовить
suggested.
тему семинара.
Like he is ready immediately to prepare the seminar.
И именно семинары, видимо, должны все-таки быть той формой, которая нам, ну, позволит вот решить задачи нашего плана как-то в большей мере. А в первой части...
The seminars could be a form which allow us to solve or to fulfill the task of our trip to some extent.
В первой части их было, по-моему, просто недостаточно.
I think during the first part of the trip we didn't have enough seminars.
Хотя, когда мы еще стояли на якоре, у нас проводились такие организационное собрание, то позвольте напомнить, речь шла о том, что семинары у нас будут ежедневные, и, в общем-то, все это будет так напряженно.
Well, I started to have when we anchored and when we had the meeting and when we discussed, we were told that we'll have the seminars every day.
Pilot whales and dolphins on the port and starboard bow.
Whales?
Pilot whales.
Pilot whales?
Пойдем смотреть китов,
I think that all the discussions about the democracy, they're really harmful for the port.
Мореплавание существует сотни лет, а мы прежде всего мореплаватели.
Yeah, they were like this morning. There we go. They're spinners.
Look, Garrett, look at this one here. They're diving right out of the bow.
Yeah. I'm surprised they're not, yeah, bow jumpers. There we go, bow jumpers. Where's the pilot whales?
They're all
Tons of back there, man.
Oh, more pilot whales.
Woo! We gotta see these things at night when they turn electric in the plankton or phytoplankton.
Uh-huh.
They glow.
Yeah, they were out here, this was what they were doing this morning, too. Holy shit. Yeah, you guys kind of did interrupt. Woo! But... Yes.
Это Уэйлс, пилоты. А это вот эти.
Все одно и то же. Вот они, вот эти.
Это дельфины.
А те вот пилоты. Такие. Куполов. Out of the water, yes!
Yes.
Pilot whales behind the water.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Nice shot. Perfect. Do it, dudes. Do it. Do it, dudes. Fucking great.
Very few people intentionally taking on a great deal of responsibility and being willing to carry through with it no matter what.
Совсем дешево в Soviet government, especially of the American government.
Я действительно, вы, конечно, простите меня за это, но я не верю ни советскому правительству, ни американскому правительству.
Some things about the Sandinistas I like maybe, but I'm not sure.
Indonesia? Sandinistas. А, ну может быть, это насчет правительства там Sandinisты, но я просто не верю.
But I think there's a few steps before we get to that. I think maybe we're looking too much on the group to solve the problem. And maybe it lies more in individuals. I don't think you can govern people you don't understand. And as you look around the room and look around the crew, especially if you're American, if you look at the Soviets, or if you're Soviet, you look at the Americans, you have to have a basic understanding of who people are individually. I think, for example, if you're an American and you don't know how many daughters Edward has, you miss a very important part. Or if you don't know, for example, what Yuri does for a living. Or if you don't know how Sergei met his wife. Or what Mila thinks about, what Mila's mother thinks about her being on the trip. If you don't start to get to know these things about every person on board the ship, I think that you're not in a position to make, for us to make decisions for each other. So I would encourage us on a one-on-one basis to get to know each other and just actively spend time connecting with each other and reaching out to each other. And to worry less about the process and more about the people.
Если мы этого хотим, то мы такие предложения должны высказать.
We should talk about our proposal, what to make the suggestions.
Если мы
So
считаем,
how we can change.
если мы считаем, что все идет замечательно и нам надо только продолжать, то мы.
If we agree that everything is okay and we only need to continue in the way it already exists, it's fine. He likes the proposal, the stern to be ahead.
This meeting will just rain for us.
See if that happens, right?
После этого собрания мы сейчас поставим груд и посмотрим, если это получится.
Well, you know, on square rigger, if this were a square rig sailing vessel, we could do it. It's true, square riggers can sail backwards.
Sail backwards on the board.
Yeah. Well, not for very far.
Как это называется?
Какое?
Про-А, да?
Есть
Марат, который
такой
ходит
тип
так.
судна, да, на
Про-А есть, который ходит и так, и так.
Maybe we can identify the kinds of decisions.
the dinner.
Have to dress
In a
for
more
Al's dinner.
creative way, to dress in a strange way. And
Just make sure that when you want to wash it off, you don't need to use water.
Yeah.
Can I wear
Can I wear survival suit?
Yeah, let's go to what
we call them Gumby suits. It looks like an orange Gumby.
Yeah, but will we have a meeting next Sunday?
No.
It's just like the legs go up.
No. Too long.
You look like Gumby.
No, will we have a meeting?
You don't have the authority to make that decision as an individual. You can give your opinion.
I think that this.
Are we even discussing this?
I think we're going in a loop here.
I think everybody's really burnt out on this topic right now.
Yeah, I think we
maybe
just like
if people would like, if people want to continue this to come to a conclusion, maybe we should take some time away from it, give everybody some space, and come back with hardcore proposals. If people would like to work on this issue. Ну, ты готова обсуждать это, продолжать или какие-то предложения сформулировать в этом?
Walking out of bad movies on our own.
We ready for the water report? Our rate per day has been about 1,700 liters. How many liters per person is that? Quite a few. And so at that rate, we only have about 9.5 days to go.
Hey Maggie,
Таким образом,
spin
нам
that light
осталось,
close in.
how many days? Нам осталось,
Yeah, there you go.
при таком расходе 9,5 дней. Нам 9,5 дней, поэтому.
We have about 16,000 remaining, so that gives you an idea
У нас
of
осталось 16 440
what we
литров.
need to do. These are the 16,000 liters right here. In order to make it to New York, which is 20 days from today,
Для того, чтобы нам дойти и продержаться на воде, которая
we're going to need to cut the rate in half to about 800 liters a day.
20 дней отсюда, нам нужно это сократить вот в половину и использовать 817 литров в день.
Unfortunately, I've spent a couple hours today working on the water maker,
Я сегодня провел парочку часов с опреснителем воды.
and it looks even worse than it did in the
И
beginning.
работает еще хуже, чем он работал.
Keep working over their chocolates there.
So I've come up with a few ideas of potential ways that we can save water.
Я теперь могу предложить несколько способов, как мы можем экономить воду.
The faucets in our sinks in the heads are turned down to their lowest
Ну,
point,
можно повернуть вот это вот краны и бачки настольные в туалете на самую нижнюю точку.
and they have been the whole trip, and so there isn't really anything that we can do about the flow
Они были, в общем-то, уже на нижней точке все время.
other than when we push them in. If we push them about halfway,
Это мы, так сказать,
then
нажимаем.
it will only flow half the time.
Может быть, нужно
But it's something that takes a real conscious effort to do,
Но нужно, так сказать,
because I think that a lot of water is
Потому что я думаю,
wasted
довольно
through those
много
faucets, just brushing our teeth,
воды мы теряем
washing our
вот
hands,
таким вот способом, когда вот
or
мы,
whatever.
со стороны, а не по центру. Я думаю, что каждый может здесь изобрести свой собственный способ, как он
But one that will definitely work is just not to push it all the way in, just push it
Я думаю, единственный хороший способ,
halfway, and
не
it,
до конца,
I mean that'll save half
наполовину, эту половину
half the
воды
flow
сэкономить.
through each one of those faucets.
Мытье посуды.
And I talked with Al,
И я говорила с Эллом,
and he said that he tried to implement a program where everyone was doing all the washing and an initial rinse in salt water,
и он вообще пытался, так сказать, как-то всех обучить.
and then a final rinse in a small amount of hot fresh water.
Соленой водой, а потом уже споласкивание.
And when the final rinse water gets cold, just adding that to the saltwater wash,
И просто, так сказать, если потом эта вода для споласкивания она охлаждается, просто добавлять.
and then refill it again with a small amount of hot fresh water.
Потом добавлять с небольшим количеством горячей воды.
So again, it just takes a lot of conscious effort
Опять просто нужно всегда как-то
from everybody
сознанием относиться, каждый должен сознательно подходить.
in order that we can make it to New York with what we have.
Могли дойти до Нью-Йорка.
On that point, I would like to address that point for a minute. I'm not sure everyone's aware that salt water is available in the galley.
Okay. In the galley sink,
Кран в раковине на кампусе.
with a red handle
с красной ручкой,
that pulls towards you,
который, так сказать, нужно на себя потянуть.
and that water is salt water.
И эта вода соленая.
And that's the water that we should use to wash
И вот этой водой нужно начинать.
and also do the initial, the initial rinse on the dishes. Or anything else. If anyone wants to do laundry or wash their hair, that's a good source for salt water without having to go on deck and use a bucket. That water comes directly from the ocean.
Можно воспользоваться этой водой вместо того, чтобы идти на палубу и черпать воду там.
And it was suggested that it should be done without driving the cooks crazy.
Предлагают для того, что это надо делать для того, чтобы не злить коков. И выводить из себя эту воду, брать из этого крана.
Also notice in drive-throughs there are paper plates, so I don't expect that there's enough to get us through the whole 20 days.
Yeah. I think that may bring up another issue though of, do we want to use the paper instead of washing it? I mean, we have plenty of salt water to use to wash them. I see no problem with that. And that's why we plumbed that salt water line in there last year, was just for this kind of thing, so that we can conserve water in that area.
But can someone else take over the?
We don't have the spare parts on the boat to replace them, so I've just it's the O-rings that I had mentioned earlier seem to keep unseating, and we don't have any replacement O-rings. And so I take it apart each time it stops, and kind of stretch them out and move them back up and put it back together, and it'll work for a day. Then as soon as we change the filters, enough air gets into the system that it can't all be bled out. Enough air gets in to unseat the O-rings, and it has to be done again. It's it's a time-consuming process, but so far it has worked. However, today I tried to do the same thing and I couldn't get it to work. And there are 3 filters which have a membrane that works under high pressure to take the salt out of the water. And I determined that one of those was the bad one. And so I ended up eliminating that one from the whole thing and just running the inlet line to one, and then the second one was the final filter, and it still didn't work. And so that's where I've left off today. If anybody knows anything about saltwater makers, come down and help. Well, I was thinking that since we need to cut this in half, it may be a good idea if we decide to take showers on our own initiative, maybe every 6 days rather than every 3 days. And if we decide that we're still we need to cut it down even more, maybe we can decide amongst everyone that that's definitely what we're going to do, and go from there.
Yeah, I want to come down and take a trip down there this evening.
Okay.
To the showers there.
It just starts to cut into a little bit of my territory. We all going to run out of water then. We'll work something out.
Okay.
The next time that you're working in the galley with somebody who hasn't been here. Can you point out some of the more important buildings?
Okay. Well, serving as our water gauge are the World Trade Center twin buildings. I'm not from New York, so I'm guessing.
Я сам не из Нью-Йорка, я просто предполагаю.
Chrysler Building, Empire State Building, Ellis Island.
Как там Island? What
Ellis Island.
It's actually Liberty Island.
Ellis Island is off the
Liberty
picture.
Island.
Oh, okay. I thought the Statue of Liberty was on Ellis Island.
Yo, dude, you must be from California.
Oh, well.
And that's Pioneer, right? That's
And then there's that other angular building there. That you
That's with all the patches.
Yeah.
We lost the gym, our best
It's City Core Center.
Which one is this?
City Core.
City Core Center.
Yeah, what about those sales?
Well, no water, but lots of patched sails.
Yay! Lemon meringue pie. Whoa!
We need all those knives, put that there, and start the.
Hey Patrice, put your smiling mug in the camera here. Let's see it.
Oh, beautiful.
Ooh. Ah. Yummy. We may be in the middle of the Atlantic, but we know how to eat right.
Yes.
I'm here in the gallery.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Albert. Happy birthday to you. Make a wish.
I just want to say thanks to everybody for all your gifts and well wishes and making it such a special day.
Я хотела бы поблагодарить всех за ваши подарки, за пожелания.
You know, you can't use your hands for the first bite.
Once more, please.
Huh?
Once more, please.
Once more.
Лучше
So we could moose it up here, okay?
Если получится, давайте так.
Okay.
Хочу склонение.
Yeah, I can see it's getting pretty long back here.
Actually, I was looking at it during the week and I was thinking that man better get a haircut.
Очень быстро, я не успеваю.
It's very good.
Yeah, we wouldn't want him to get too wild here. To go into New York looking clean and mean.
Maggie, there's a barber in you hiding in there somewhere.
Hey, there's a few
Do you want
good
me to
ones
take a
back
picture with
here.
your camera?
Sure. It's right around here, around the corner here.
Can I pass by here, Mike?
Sure.
Big Bird walks through.
No? Is everything is automatic on this?
Maggie's Teen Vegas Salon.
Just turn it. You turn it on. Can you turn it here?
Margani.
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 Margani. All right, I like that word.
Margani.
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 Give us a margani. Oh, Galina.
Can I bring your camera down, Mike?
Sure.
TV
Margani.
announcer could not even.
Gino. G.
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 And
Oh, it's
you're
pretty
the
long
one.
over the years.
Как отличить чит от шит?
And if I forget what you call
And
it.
all this down here.
Good. Остатки прежнего.
I must say that
Two.
when I
Please. Yes.
Что поделаешь? Я бы сходил, да некуда.
What was that comment?
We've been learning some English.
What was the word?
When you realize that we're in the wrong place, you say, oh shit. And when you
Это же вахта, эй, первая любовь.
Oh, things are great in the forecastle now.
О,
Uh-huh. Good. Smile.
What's that? Well, it doesn't really matter. You get it. It's like breathing. You can just do it. All different speeds. You don't leave it. So brush down, like some people use just this finger, some people just use this finger, some people use both. It doesn't matter. Whichever's comfortable. But the key is counting to yourself. Is a big part of the key. The other key is practicing speed. And you just have to do it till you're blue in the face. And once you have this down basic, then you can really add a lot to it, like you can alternate speeds. Do hammer-ons. See, watch this again. Even a simple song, God's Son of the Lord. You can do it in the most basic way, right? You'll be able to do this in a couple things. Sideways one. And what it actually read for us in a position where we were, you can plot your distance away from that point. And that's where you are. Except for that the sun, of course, only gives you a line of position. It doesn't give you a fix, because it's only one celestial body. Okay, so that's what we're going to end up with. This is a line of position from the sun. So to enter this book, there's a couple things we need. We need to have latitude, which that's for an assumed position. So we're going to assume, let's see, our assumed position, we're going to call 55 degrees. So here's our DR, right? We're pretty close. So our assumed position, 5 degrees north. Okay. So we need latitude to enter this. We also need declination. Well, we have declination, right? We also need.
Wait, where'd you get declination again? What are these tables?
By looking up August 15th. Right, the daily page. August 15th at 1600. Declination north 13, 55 p.m. And what we have to do too is apply the correction.
Yeah, that's
right.
275.
The youngest pilot at the sea.
Arr, Vidar. The toughest sailor in the fleet.
Yeah, mate, yeah.
Can you even see the compass there? Where are we headed?
Where should we go? Where do you want to go? Kingston, we're going to Kingston. Set the course for Kingston! Is that where you live? Because that's where the captain lives. And the captain's daughter. You're the daughter of a real captain. That's almost as good.
Well, a captain, but I'm a captain's daughter, but I'm still a captain.
What do you mean you're still a captain?
Because I steered on a boat.
You're steering now.
Well, at different time I steered on a boat too.
And Where did you go to that time?
I don't know.
Did you have a good time?
This move whenever we turn it.
Yeah. You don't have to touch it because this will move it. See? This moves a little bit. But I don't move too much. That's cool. Yippee! Feel the whole boat turning? You did that.
This was 0.6 anything. So since by definition LHA, local hour angle, based on this drawing, right, equals GHA minus west longitude. If I'm assuming a position, like we talked about, I can assume any position I want. Well, then I can assume a position that'll make this LHA come out to a whole number. So if GHA is 54 degrees 0.6 minutes.
So it's just arbitrary.
It's arbitrary. I can assume this position, 44 degrees 0.6 west longitude, and that makes my LHA comes out to a whole number.
Why doesn't it throw off your sighting? Why doesn't it throw off your position?
It doesn't, because what we're going to do is look up in this book what the sextant would read if we were right in this exact spot. And then based on the difference, and then we'll get a number for what the sextant would read.
That's why they don't bother to break down the algorithm tables by minutes.
So we'll get a number for what the sextant would read. We compare that number to what our sextant actually read, and it gives us the distance away, right? Because degrees in arc can be converted to distance. 1 minute of latitude equals a mile. So if we get the difference in minutes or degrees between our readings, that's the distance away in miles. And this will give you the direction based on the sun's azimuth, what direction the sun is.
That's it, President.
Yes, up until all black people. The law up until that point, since 1896, had been that there could be separation between blacks and whites as long as it was equal separation. In other words, you could have a black school and a white school as long as the black school was the same as the white school. That was the law that was accepted up to this point.
До этого момента существовало разделение, что для белых и для черных, если школа для черных, она такая же, как для белых. Допускалось, что там те же условия, тот же уровень, но тем не менее они существовали разделение.
And so at that point, there were a number of other instances. One, Rosa Parks in Alabama refused to, buses were separated, white section and black section. She refused to get up from the bus to let a white man sit in her seat. This also went to the Supreme Court and was upheld. So this again was part of the general movement of civil rights. And this forced all of it.
Hey, Mike. Emily wonders what you're doing down here.
Hey, give me my finger back. Give me my finger back.
By this free labor pool, which were used in trade to Europe, brought a lot of money into the United States, which really wasn't used until after the Civil War, moving into the industrial nation. Although
has continued in many ways. States, Asian immigrants were used and abused very much. They worked for almost no money. They worked very hard, did a lot of things for the American economy, had no rights on their jobs. They worked many hours and got nothing for it.
В 1800-х годах очень много черных, построены в Америке азиатами, черными и ирландцами.
And these railroads provided a very big means for the economic growth of the United States.
И это, в общем, способствовало такому интенсивному экономическому развитию Америки.
Yes, that's right, which continues. In many cases, the living in the United States was much better than what they had, but back in Europe, but it was still terrible by American standards. Again, the same issue, very low wages, no rights on the job, worked for many hours, and the Americans who were there benefited greatly. The American economy benefited, although the workers didn't, which sort of leads into the European immigrants who came over from Ireland. Skilled jobs or not in unions. If you're not in a union, you have almost no rights. The only thing provided for in most cases is what they call even now. There's a very big fight in Congress over minimum wage for people who are not union.
До сих пор те люди, которые не являются там членами каких-то союзов профессиональных, у них очень...
Minorities in the United States public school system were encouraged to go to vocational schools so that they would end up on these blue-collar jobs where other Americans would get their liberal education and go on to white-collar jobs, and that still continues today.
Ну и также вот эти национальные меньшинства, и их в основном поощряют, чтобы они шли в ремесленные школы, а в то время как свободное американское население, оно имеет право выбирать, какую жизнь. Ремесленные школы, где они обучаются какому-то мастерству и сразу на работу.
What prosperity there is in the United States continues to be built on the backs of cheap labor, now largely in third world countries. Factories in the United States are being closed down, and the jobs are being transferred to third world countries.
Америка продолжает процветать на дешевом труде.
Many strikes. There have been many strikes in the last 10 years or so, and in most cases, recently, unions have had to give up some of the things they had bargained for previously. In this case, big business is winning over labor unions.
And now they became too bureaucratic, they don't fulfill their roles.
The union, well, they were very corrupt. The unions were, and in some cases, are very corrupt. And they're causing their own problems in part.
Коллективное творчество. Я думаю, что я не лучший знаток советской истории у нас в команде. Просто так получилось, что выбор пал на меня.
Just happened to be that I'm supposed to represent a historical report about our country.
Но мне помогали мои друзья.
But my friends helped me.
Я надеюсь, что если я ошибусь или что-то... И, как ни странно, именно советский период нам, видимо, наименее известен, потому что...
Strange it is, but we know less about Soviet period.
Та история СССР, которую мы изучали в школе,
because the history of the Soviet Union we studied in school.
Сейчас подвергается серьезной критике.
Now is very seriously criticized.
Очень много сообщений в периодической печати.
A lot of new information in the press and newspapers.
Открывающих новые страницы советской истории или
new pages of the Soviet history.
Таких популярных изданий, где последовательно была бы изложена история Советского Союза в новом понимании, пока нет.
There are no new historical books yet.
Так что вот то, что нам сегодня удалось вспомнить, это
what we were able to remember today.
Довольно отрывочные такие знания отдельных людей, тех, кто у нас в связи.
Only a brief explanation of which was available to us.
Безусловно, ложилось тяжелым бременем на плечи трудового народа.
Yeah, it was really hard period for the population in the country.
Это продолжало усиливать революционные настроения.
It continued to intensify the revolutionary moods and movement.
В результате в феврале 2017 года в России произошла демократическая революция.
The democratic revolution happened in Russia.
Последний русский царь Николай II
the last Russian Tsar, Nikolai II,
был вынужден отречься от престола.
He was forced to abdicate. Was the abdication.
И власть перешла к временному правительству.
And the temporary government had the power. Got the power. Temporary.
В которой входили представители различных русских партий.
And that government includes the representatives of different Russian parties.
В основном буржуазных.
Mainly bourgeois parties.
Спустя несколько месяцев, в октябре 2017 года,
In a few months, in October of 1917,
путем вооруженного восстания,
as the result of the military rebellion,
власть перешла в руки большевиков, которые в союзе с несколькими другими партиями создали рабоче-крестьянское правительство. Значит, основной лозунг революционных масс того времени звучал так: власть советом, мир народу, земля крестьян.
So the main slogan of the revolutionary masses at that period was the power to the Soviets, the power to the Soviets, the land to the peasants, and unfavorable circumstances for Russia.
В феврале того же года была создана регулярная
unfavorable circumstances for Russia. Unfavorable terms.
Значит, в феврале того же года была создана регулярная Красная Армия.
Well, in February of the same year, the regular Red Army was formed.
И, так сказать, еще не успев отдохнуть от войны, Россия оказалась втянутой во внутреннюю войну, гражданскую войну, которая продолжалась
Not having enough rest after the war, Russia happened to be involved in the civil war.
Очаги этой войны возникали в разных частях страны.
The civil war started in different places all over the country.
В Сибири, на юге страны,
in Siberia and on the south of the country and European parts of the country, everywhere.
Война, как всякая война, это была очень тяжелый, кровопролитный, но самое трагическое...
That war, as all other wars, was very hard and bloody.
Самое трагическое заключалось все-таки в том, что опять воевали друг с другом люди одной национальности и даже...
But the biggest tragedy was that again the people of the same nation were fighting against each other.
Даже члены одной и той же семьи могли оказаться по разные стороны фронта.
Sometimes the members of the same family were fighting against each other and happened to be at the different sides of the barricade. Well, that was achieved planned results, and very fast period the economy was restructured.
Революция в России.
How the revolution would develop in Russia.
В январе 24 года
But in January of 1924,
умер
Russian policy.
и люди смогли вздохнуть свободно.
And the people were able to breathe freely.
Немедленно началась реабилитация незаслуженно репрессированных людей.
And the immediate rehabilitation of the repressed people started in the country.
Оказалось, что очень трудно найти в стране такую семью, где бы не было репрессированных в сталинские годы.
Very hard to find even one family in the country which wasn't touched by this repression.
Или погибших во время войны.
And most of the families they lost their members during the Second World War.
Считается, что всего во Второй мировой войне погибло примерно 50 миллионов людей.
Approximately 50 million of people died during the Second World War.
Из них, до недавнего прошлого мы считали, что из них до 20 миллионов это советские люди.
Until recent time we consider that 20 million of them are Soviet people.
Но сейчас публикуется мнение, что эта цифра должна быть еще увеличена, и потери Советского Союза, вероятно, составили около 28 миллионов человек в войне.
But now there is an opinion that Soviet Union probably lost approximately 28 million of people in the Second World War.
Никто не знает, какие потери понес народ в результате сталинских репрессий.
Nobody knows how many people were lost as a result of Stalin repressions.
Но многие считают, что эти потери сравнимы с потерями во время войны.
But many people consider that these losses can be compared with the losses during the war, during the Second World War.
Но времена менялись. В 1957 году в
But the
Москве
time changed, and in 1958 in Moscow
состоялось событие, которое можно считать ознаменованием конца эпохи железного занавеса.
the event was held in Moscow, which we can consider to be the end of the epoch of Iron Curtain.
В Москву были приглашены участники 6-го Всемирного фестиваля молодежи.
The participants of the 6th International Youth Festival were invited to Moscow.
И Советский Союз таким образом посетили одновременно тысячи иностранцев.
Thousands of foreigners visited the Soviet Union in 1958. 57.
Это был прекрасный праздник.
It was a big festival holiday.
Советские люди проявили большое гостеприимство и случайно встреченных на улице людей из других стран.
The Soviet people expressed a lot of hospitality.
Приглашали. И
efforts for the Jews.
Здесь у меня ошибка. Первый визит Хрущева в Соединенные Штаты состоялся годом раньше, в 1959 году.
Well, here there was a mistake. The first visit of Khrushchev to the United States was in 1959.
Это было очередное потепление наших отношений.
Well, it was one of the periods of the warmness in our relationship.
Вообще, я думаю, что такие положительные моменты в отношениях между нашими странами всегда бывают тогда, когда кончается срок очередного президента Соединенных Штатов.
I think that such moments of the warmness in the relationship between our countries, they happen when there is an end term of the American, when you change president.
Вот в 1959 году Эйзенхауэр стал немножко добрее и пригласил Хрущева к себе.
In 1959, Eisenhower became a little bit kinder and he invited Khrushchev to visit the United States.
Do it again. You laugh now, but you will see.
Yeah, we laugh now and we'll laugh later.
You will see. Come on, give us a mating call to the whale there.
Okay, which mating call? Which whale is that?
Alexander, сын мой! No, that's That's the get lost call.
There might be a sea elephant there now. Come on, you know. Here you go. Don't bend the tubing now.
Go for it. Let's hear it. All right. Try it again. Whoa. Let's hear it. I don't know. Either end, probably. I don't know. I think you have to have lessons. Yeah.
Ого. Ой, что-то желтое там. Что-то зеленое там идет, белое. Посмотри, прям то ли белое плюха его там все видят, да? Второй. А он не перекрыл. Красота. Луна какая длинная. Что на Луне? Is that the same one that was here, do you think? Yeah, they...
Moonrise. As the sun sets. Hey, they just broke there. Black body. They're hearing our song. There's a whole bunch spouting out there.
Good.
Oh, you can see it on the...
Missed the food.
Call the whales. Well, ice cream.
I want one of these to play.
It'd be fucking even easier. The accordion and the trombone. It's easy to play. Pick the weirdest instruments. Spectacular whales.
I saw flippers
Oh.
there.
All their fins are...
Said that one animal that is
Yes.
Caught on the head of the. Caught on the head of the. It's caught on the head of the rod.
Maybe a permanent one.
Could be a permanent one.
That's the story. Yeah. What do you like? Salmon?
No, no.
No.
Yeah.
Trout?
I like the eggs best.
You like eggs? You like caviar?
Well, I don't like it black.
You like it red?
Yeah.
See?
Better red.
Better red?
You want to try it with this one?
No, you try it. How is it?
It's good.
It's pretty tasty? No, you have it.
Yeah.
I'm not hungry right now.
Good, huh? Yeah. No, one of the there's more people. Think that'd be better? No, there's not no problem. Not.
How many people are on?
43, I think.
I won't say another word. But this is not a frown on my face.
Touche.
Do that again. I like that. I like that vibrato there. Do that again. Come on.
I'm gonna have no lip left.
Come on, the whales love that vibrato.
They do. Whale calls.
Bravo! Bravo!
They're coming closer. They really are.
Nice. We have a big straight jacket.
Oh, we're gonna sing happy birthday.
Okay, we're gonna sing happy birthday to Elena.
По-русски. С днем рождения.
I want to hear that.
It's vanilla cake with apricot sauce. Tell me what it is.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe they wanted some birthday cake. But I think it's more that they wanted to wish Elena a happy birthday. And, I think it's also appropriate that we drink to Elena's health.
Yeah.
Hey!
Right on.
I don't know if she wants to try any of this, it may not.
Nobody knows how many people believe in God in the Soviet Union.
За прошлом году председатель Совета по делам религии Карчик делал доклад высшей
Each person became an enemy to the nation, an enemy to the country. It was synonymous. If you were a believer, you were thought to be a
Вторую мировую войну ситуация изменилась.
And during the Second World War, the situation changed. about events and facts, just external events, I don't think that I will be able to explain you why it happened.
В определенный момент своей жизни я стал задумываться над так называемыми вечными вопросами.
Well, at some point of my life, I started to think about some eternal questions, about sense of life, meaning of life.
Какой смысл человеческой жизни на маленькой планете, затерянной в безграничном космосе, существующем миллиарды лет?
What is the meaning of the human life on the small planet which is lost in the universe that existed for billions and billions of years?
Потом у меня появились знакомые среди верующих людей. Причем я жил там в секте или по стереотипу, что это что-то...
Then I got to know some people who are believers, and I lived as all other people in a great stereotype. Это вера в Бога или Бога, это физическая система верования или утверждений, построенная на Боге или какой-то этический код.
In America, our main religions are Christianity and Judaism. The spin-offs from Christianity are mainly Roman Catholic and Protestant. And underneath that we have Baptists, Episcopalians, Presbyterians, Lutherans, Pentecostal, etc. These religions mainly follow the worship of Jesus Christ and have some affiliation with the Bible. Judaism is mainly three different schools of thought: the Orthodox, conservative, and Reform. The Orthodox Judaism is known as the Hasidim, and Hasidic Jews. Hasidim, I don't know how you say it. Hasidim. And they practice here as an area of, in fact, New York, where there's a high concentration called Williamsburg, where there's strictly Hasidim live, worship. I think that the shamanism, astrology, and Illuminati goes back to the foundations of when America was a young country and people sought freedom of worship from England and other nations.